All right, we are live. So we're kicking off our staff meeting officially. We already have the stats up, and we're going to fly through this thing. So we'll start off with a round of what's hot. What do you appreciate?
Garrett, what's hot? What do you appreciate?
I'm about to be able to call leads in like 36 hours. I'm very, very excited about that.
Yeah, appreciate the juice.
Yeah.
Seriously, it's going to be great. Next week's going to be so much fun. And yeah, I mean, I'm just excited for that, and I'm thankful just that it's been really nice and sunny in Florida the past few days. It's not hurricaning here. There's not going to be a hurricane anytime soon. We're all going to make a lot of money.
Awesome. Awesome. Julia, what's hot? What do you appreciate?
What's hot? I have a bio quiz tomorrow morning at 8 a.m.
That's hot as
Woo.
What I appreciate is working here the past 4 months.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. What's hot is that one of my classes for tomorrow got canceled, so I have more time to study for my exam on Thursday. And then what I appreciate is Rob Rod. I miss him.
Oh my god, I miss that guy.
Oh, R.I.P.
Yeah, I miss Rob too. She was just so excited.
So not enough.
Huh?
I'm not enough.
No, but you guys all know what I'm talking about. You guys are just you miss it too. I can't say I miss it without you guys taking it personal. Don't think they take it personally more. All right. Danny.
So it's hot. I remember my first practice interview tomorrow. Love it. What I appreciate is like Garrett's here with us. His team, awesome. Definitely appreciate that. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. What's hot is I'm excited. I'm pretty excited for my trip that I'm taking here,
Where are you going again?
Yeah.
California. So that's the first thing I'll
I
mention.
thought that was the end of September.
I'm going to LA.
It's going to Jeff's wedding.
No, that's
Wait.
October.
Oh, that's great. That's hot.
Wait, what are you doing this weekend?
I'm Wednesday. I leave for California. So
Wait, but don't you go to California in the end of September?
yes, I go twice this month.
Why would you do that to yourself?
Huh? I planned this trip back in like March. So first off, I'll preface that by starting off here. So I leave for California on Wednesday. And so first things first, we'll go over the whole entire schedule just because for that one, I'm going to try to make yourself as available as possible, but I'll be somewhat off the grid. It's just that it's a personal growth trip. So it's not like it's not like I'm just taking like a vacation or fun. I'll be working the whole entire time I'm there. This will hopefully help you all bring back a better version of me. So I'm able to more serve you all. It's like a personal growth and immersion trip. Paid a lot of money for it. And, huh? It was like $3,000 for the event, and then the flights and and then it's like $2,000 in Airbnb and then all the other good stuff. So
Like $5,000?
probably a $5,000 trip. Yeah.
Is your girlfriend going?
No, it's just like a personal. I'm staying with Mike Abramowitz to show you guys how much fun we'll be having. I'm just kidding. Like, if you ever watch that, I'm really actually looking forward to it. If you ever watch this. So, anyways, but no, it's just saying, but it's gonna be a very chill trip, is what I'm saying. Like, I'm not like, I won't be available. I won't be like not available because I'm like busy off like did something else. But I will be like trying to be like very, very focused on the growth that I'm trying to have while I'm there, and hopefully it will help. Hopefully it will bring back a better version of me. Number one, plan. Number two, I have like a running list of like 15 different things I've wanted to do and get done for the office for some time now, like changing half of our documents and sheets that I hate, and a lot of other things. So hopefully, like around my flights and everything else like that, I can get some of that work done too, and we'll come back and we'll be ready to hit the ground running here. So first thing I'll kind of preface by saying that this is like going to be an exciting week for, even Garrett said it the other day. He's like, wow, this is going to be an exciting week for your staff because it's like the first week they'll actually have to be able to like try doing things without you here and seeing how it is. So it's probably a little bit nerve-wracking, a little bit exciting at the same time. I'm not nervous, so I'm honestly just excited to see how you guys do it. I'm really not worried.
So
There's times
TLA
there's TLA prep. I'm gonna go over all that stuff in a second. There's times where I leave out of town or don't go into the office for the day, and I'm like sweating bullets the whole entire time. Like I get so much anxiety when I'm not here, and just because I'm like, I like, how are things going? Like, yeah, it's like very hard for me to like detach sometimes. But for this, I'm like, I feel good and confident about the direction we're heading, and I also feel good about the people whose hands I'm leaving it in. So, just kidding. So we'll start off there. Let's talk about, I guess, the training stuff, and then we'll dive into the actual schedule stuff. So just talk about sales for the week. So Alex Stanham, you came in clutch, dude, with that last-minute order there. So that made us finish off at not as awful of a week as we were originally going to. But one thing I do want to point out is the cool thing is that, like, as soon as everyone gets on the ball with selling, right, especially all our assistant manager team, like the way you guys are making money and stuff like that too, structure-wise in the office, like everyone's going to start like when you guys all sell, like, you know, if every single person on the assistant manager team sold, right, that's like $8,000 a week at least. It will be about $8 to $10,000 a week if everyone was actually stepping up and just doing like the 5 demos that they're supposed to. So once we get that going, guess what? Just off of like each other and by being on office pay, like when you're all selling collectively, not only are you guys all making a whole lot more money, but you're also making like that's $8 to $10,000 that you're making money off of the office automatically each and every single week. And all of you guys are pretty much new business, so it's going to count for everybody too. So not only are you're helping out your peers, so motivate your peers there to sell too. Because Alex, everyone else made money off of you this week, but you didn't make money off of many other people. So keep that in mind, right? But we'll finish off the week at like 13.3. I mean, pretty weak. The first thing I kind of mentioned.
Wait, 13.3?
13.3 is what we're at right now.
Oh.
What do you
I
think?
thought we were at like 12 or 11.7.
Right now we're at 13.3. Oh, did you enter your orders in?
Yeah, there's another 100 because I told the woman I'd buy her a knife for those leads. So there's a Hardy slicer on that. Nice.
So you gotta put in a Hardy slicer. So I mean, we're at 13.4. We're at 12K in new for the week, which again is just still pretty poor. Not really where we want to be. And there's a couple of different things. First off, our sales team sucks. So we really just gotta we can focus on how we can take it higher. I'm going to walk through. I want to do more. I'm going to do less of this tonight just because, like, I think it's going to be a waste of time for us this week because we're not even getting close to the projections. It's just going to be a waste of time right now. What I do want to focus on is, like, who in here can actually sell and who can we actually spend time with and getting them to sell and step up to the plate. Because we got some people on our team that should just be, like, the boot. And there are some people on our team that we keep talking about having a shitty team, but, like, they just really need better coaching and they're not actually getting the time and, like, being managed the right way. So they're not selling and something like that too. Like Josh Thompson, like, someone needs to follow up with him, but he's a kid that can be very easily fixed and easily be selling $1,000 a week. And it's just been eating shit for 5 weeks while he's been in here. So, yeah, that's kind of the first thing. So last week's results, couple of things before we dive into – actually, we'll just dive into the results this week, and then we'll talk about a couple other things before we finish up. So let's start there. Last week, I don't know what happened, but like half our orders didn't tab. We only tabbed like $4,000 in the office, which, by the way, is why like everyone's paychecks sucked last week because the office didn't really even sell anything somehow. I don't even know whose orders didn't tab, but there was like negatives on there, and then there was also like a bunch of people's orders didn't tab. So like general speaking, like, and that's pretty bad. Like we'll have like an 80K week, and like so tabbing means like how many of the orders go through. If it's a problem order, doesn't mean you don't get paid off of it. It just means it might be a week. It might be delayed till this week because like one of them got flagged, and if it's not processed completely, it won't be processed. It won't be on your paycheck until it's processed. That means like the rep hasn't been paid for the order yet, the customer hasn't got their order yet, and that means obviously as the office we're not getting paid off the order yet either. So we would need to look at the problem orders when we get a chance, and I'm going to have that on a hit list of like things that like there's not going to be that much responsibilities outside of like immediate running the office and interviewing because there's no training class this weekend. There's not going to be a launch. There's not going to be a pop. So we got to use this week as a week to get ahead on some of the things that have been kind of adding up and piling up on behind on us too. So I have that. But one of those things is going to be like looking at problem orders and seeing if we can get any of those taken care of. Because again, every single one of those problem orders is like adding onto your paychecks and stuff like that for the week. We got to get those fixed up. So typically it shouldn't happen. Again, usually when we have like a 60K week, we'll tab like 56 or 57K of it. So when we have a 10K week and we only tab 4K of it, it's pretty bad. I feel like I'm talking and no one's listening. So
No one listening for it.
There was a $900 problem.
are you guys are pulling up the problem waters right now?
Yeah, I had a
I was
$79
thinking
one.
5, 6 months today, so.
Cool. So we'll go through them all later. Let's go through that stuff later. But just for time-wise purposes here. But we're definitely going to want to look at that. So this week is a step up in the right direction. I don't really want to say that though, because Alex sold almost $6,000 this week, and like if he did take one person's sales away, and then we sold $4,000 for the whole week. One thing I've been consistently noticing, and I think this is the number one problem that we're having in our office right now. So we're gonna do a rep analysis, and then we need to talk about how we can do it moving forward. But our training pop sucks each and every single week. So there's two things that are involved in that. One is the PDI, which is on you all. One is the actual training, which is on me. And then the other part is, I guess, the people coming into our office, which is on our whole entire staff and team. So I was just telling this to Danny earlier. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. Like, I really suck at training crappy people. Like, it's just not my forte in retaining them or making them so big. And my training is kind of wired so that when I have like the sharp people in the training, like they pop off like $2,000 to $5,000 their first weekend, which is great when I have those sharp, high quality people in training. But when I have, like kind of like the B and C candidates, like you guys can see obviously from this weekend, that even though I like will feel good about the training and they go out there, if they go out there and they get like crushed in appointments, like because they have such high expectations, I not over promote. I over promote in order to get, because the only reason is because I over promote, like people go off and do big things. But sometimes I promote expectations almost too high, so they go out there, they have like 3 or 4 no sales, and they're like, oh my god, the world's ending, blah blah blah, like and they can't like really hang in there. So part of it, I think I'm going to try to make some adjustments in my training for the fall, but what would even be cooler than making adjustments to training is if like I just could keep running the training I had this summer, and we just had higher quality applicants. Yeah, exactly. And again, I'd rather have 4 like prep school kids from my top schools, like a Columbus kid, a Ransom kid, a kid for like a girl from Lourdes, and a Glen kid in my office, and like 20 public school kids, to be honest, like in my training office, because I know like I'm gonna have each one of those kids like we'll be able to sell like $2,000 to $3,000 the first weekend, and that's like our pop this weekend was $2,000 from 8 people. $2,000 from 8 people, and by the way, guess what? 7 people sold nothing, and the only one kid that came, only like the one sharp kid, Julio, which was like there's like one sharp kid in the training class, Julio, and he sold $2,000 this weekend.
He's the only
He's
the only one that sold a single dollar.
Everything that Jeff just sold this season.
Which was what?
So you're saying to like not be selective at all, and to bring like people that aren't good in and develop them to be like.
No, but you're right. Okay, so I guess I gotta preface this. I'm not telling you guys to stop. I'm not telling you guys to stop doing what you're doing. In fact, Danny and Julia both like booed people from interviews today that I both like, we should probably keep those people, right? So I'm not telling you guys to start kicking out all the shitty people, because all those people could sell, right? What I'm saying, what we need to start doing is we don't have any like high quality caliber recruits coming in. We need to just get more top people. Everything else right now, because this is what I said I would rather have those 4 sharp kids and 20 public school kids. What I'd really rather have is those 4 sharp kids, and then there are 6 public school kids sitting behind them, right? And what's going to happen is those kids, I know the whole rest of the training class could fail, and I know those kids are going to bring us a big pop. But there's another like 5 to 6 people sitting there that are hanging out, and like probably maybe half of them will bomb, but like some of them will pick it up and do better. And also when everyone else in the training class is doing better, it's easier to point to them because they see the success and they're like, oh, wow, obviously, versus when they're looking at each other and they're like, oh, yeah, like that sucks. Yeah, this does suck. Oh, man, this sucks. And that's kind of how they feel. That's like a echo chamber there. So the solution is we just need more caliber recruits. And like I mentioned last week, from people watching this, it's really going to come from you guys. So the biggest move that we have over the week while I'm gone, we have a week. We don't have training Thursday or Friday. So it's like, who can we get in the door? And it's basically like the cool thing is it's going to be an exciting opportunity for you all because I come back Wednesday night and then we have training on Thursday and Friday. So you all basically we already have 17 people going to the training. We've got like a week and a half basically to create.
You're gone for a week?
I'm gone from Wednesday and I get back on Tuesday. Or, yeah.
A week.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, cool.
So we'll go through the schedule and stuff like that in a second. But what I'm saying is that like we have 1 week essentially to create to build up a really awesome, massive training class that Bob would all kind of determine how we perform over the 2 weeks next Thursday and Friday. So getting those quality kids, and you said you had someone coming in from Ransom or something like that.
Yeah.
Or no, you
I
did.
have LaSalle, and then I have some like Aventura.
Cool.
I have some Ransom kids coming.
Cool. The key is that we can just get some of those kids. Alex, and you had a couple like Westminster kids coming in. Ruben, I don't know if you have any Columbus kids that we can get in here, but we can get like there's a couple more of those. Like that's what we really need to get the semester kickstarted. And our team is kind of like crappy too. Again, it also just, by the way, once we have better people in the office, it just makes things more fun too. It's like it's more enjoyable to be here. Like I'm sure you guys were here on Sunday. Like yeah, exactly. So did I. I'm just being honest. Like it's just like even when we're Sunday, like outside of like the staff, like I don't think anyone wants to hang out with any of our reps. Like I'm just being honest. I hope none of them ever watch the studio. But you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. It's like, hey, the staff's all cool and I like them, but like seeing all these reps, I'm just like, gosh, you know. So it'd be a lot more fun and a lot more enjoyable, like when everyone's just having a good time in the office and it's not like we're doing things like it's just enjoyable, you know, when there's better people around, everyone's selling, everyone's making money, everyone has more fun in the office. So that's the kind of culture that we want to get back to. And we've just kind of like struggled a little bit away from there. So that's the only thing, like we're actually crushing recruiting right now compared to like most offices in terms of like quantity, like a fall interview where you're signing 8, when you're signing, how many you signed today? 9, 14, 12 signing on a Monday is like, that would be like solid for like during the summertime. You know what I mean? Like that's a big, 12 signing on a Monday is big. Like we're doing everything else we're doing in our office right now is good. Like this is like the kind of shape up to like a 200, 300K fall. We just got to get the caliber up. So that's only the really biggest move. We do that over the next week or two. You know, that will be the time to do it. And it's got to happen now. I think it gets harder and harder as the semester goes on to recruit those kind of high quality recruits because they get bogged down with some midterms and testing exams and things like that. So it just gets a little bit harder to recruit people as the semester goes on. So that's that. Questions, comments, feedback? Cool.
Yeah.
Goal? Yeah.
No, just as far as comment, like when you get those high quality kids in earlier, you'll be getting their high quality PRs earlier as well. While if you keep having crappy people and then get good people later on, there's not as much of a good base to work around.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like this training class is going to make or break our fall. I mean, not necessarily because we can always bounce back from it, but if we nail this training class, the rest of the fall will be really smooth. I mean, it really will be because like everything in the office will be smoother. We'll have the PRs that we need to have. It just will expand out from there. So goal is 40 plus set. There's already 17 set for training. That means 23 over the next like week, which should not be too difficult considering how recruiting's been going. So we can probably take it higher than 40. Goal is from that. It's gonna be a 2-week cycle, so the show is gonna be a little bit lower. And I know some people are running interviews for the first time, so it always is. So goal is just gonna have 15 people sitting in the chairs on that Thursday. We have 15 people here ready to rock and roll. We'll launch 12 of them, and I estimated at 500 just because we've been shipping so low. But again, if like it's quality, like we can get this a whole lot higher. I can get 15K training pop from 12 kids, no problem. If it's actually high quality caliber recruits, if it's kind of more at the beginning, and we have like 1 or 2 in there, we can shoot for like a 6K first weekend pop or something like that there. So. Boom. Questions? All right, let's do this. I'm not going to map out. In terms of like sales of the week, let's look at like what we could let's talk about what we could get each rep to. You know, so maybe not conservatively here. We'll just do this and then we'll take a conservative percentage of it. So let's just talk about I'm not even going to do any of this stuff because there's no training pop. Here's what you guys need to know. Like most of the sales will happen this weekend. So probably like 20% of it needs to happen during the weekdays. Let's look at like what we can actually do for the week though, first off. So Julio, what do you guys think he could do for the week?
Julio, he could do.
I think he could do 2. If he's coached the right way, I think he could do 2. He's already at $1,800 for this week, and we were like very distant from him. That's kind of like the other thing. Let's see how this training costs. Part of it's on me. Part of it's just PDI, which to be honest was awful this weekend. But we were also all at prep, so it's like.
Yeah.
It should have been organized more. I think it's more so on me because we should have organized it more. So like how we're gonna do it in between. I don't know. We should have done something differently, but hindsight is 2020. There. I think for future weekends for PDI, we don't need to really worry about this until this week. But the following weekend, we just got to really be buttoned up and on top of it. Here's actually one question I do have. Let's say I think I'm gonna add probably. Stan M to the PDI line, a couple other people to be like this. I'm gonna probably add other people to the line to be like the second round of like backup. We could do it differently though. So we could divvy it. We could do it like we did all summer, Lauren. But typically we're gonna. I mean, next week's might be a big one, but usually the training class would be less than 8 people. Like they're gonna be somewhere between 6 to 10 people. So we could also just divvy it up. So it's like you have 3 people that you talk to all weekend long, and you just talk to those 3 people, and you don't really worry about anyone else. And you just, I mean, if you get a call here and there, awesome. But you just worry about your 2 to 3 people, and everyone does that. Or we could do it more so like in like, we could divvy up a little more shifts. So one person's like, hey, you're completely in charge of like PDI, this section, this section, this section, this section. We can do more of that, or we can kind of do it how we have been doing it and just be like hopefully more on top of it.
I like dividing up
The people?
Yeah.
What's everyone else's votes on that?
I feel like, yeah, I agree with Lauren, like, somewhat, but I feel like, too, that's gonna, like, if we do the whole dividing them, like, I feel like when they come in for, like, phone jam stuff, they're not gonna really know who the rest of us are, like, because we've never talked to them. It's just kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah, I agree, but I also, well, in general, in terms of, like, once they're on the team, I'm talking about just first weekend.
Yeah.
So they're not just first weekend.
Not
Although,
the rest of their career.
although for the rest of their career,
For
the rest of their career, that's kind of my plan. I definitely want to divvy it up for those people so everyone has a team captain. That doesn't replace PDI. So, like, for instance, if Lauren's doing Tuesday PDI on a Tuesday, she's still going to do Tuesday PDI for the whole team. Someone's doing Friday PDI, they're still going to go through the whole team if you're doing that. But in general, like, you've got, like, a group chat with, like, your team, like Danny's team, and it's got, like, the 6 to 7 reps, and, like, those are the people that, like, you're most in charge. So you should, like, kind of, like, know what's going on with them, too. Because right now it's kind of, like the exact same thing that happened today. We had 1 out of 8 show for advanced training or 1 out of 7. And the whole reason was just because we were like, I mean, it was kind of like, did you talk to anyone? I was like, oh, no, crap. Did you talk to anyone? Oh, no. And I was like, oh, well, no one talked to him. It was also on me, too. I, like, didn't even remember. It didn't even cross my mind to remind you guys yesterday, like, to reach out to the team, make sure we talked to him. And then we all just realized, like, shit, no one talked to anyone. Okay, cool. Versus, like, like, all right, I know they're not talking to my people. No one else talks to them. If I don't talk to them, no one else talks to them.
Yeah, that's why I like it more.
I think it might be better strategy for the fall.
Yeah.
But what about first weekend? The only thing I worry about is
up the people.
Well, yeah, because also I was thinking, like,
I think it's easier on us, and we focus more on that.
Yeah, that. But like, also, like, what I was gonna say is, like, when they call, like, for help during a demo, and then they like hang up and they call for the coaching call, it's easier, like, if we all have the same people, because we actually know, like,
what's going on with them.
Yeah.
So
Leo was like, "Can I use the same deals yesterday?" I was like,
yeah, I was like,
what deal was that?
So I think what we should do is if we divvy it up and call it divvying it up, we still has to be like a teamwork aspect. Like, don't like sit there and you can't like ignore calls like, oh, this is not my person, I'm not taking that call. Because here's the deal that it does make. I'd rather you guys coach that person so like like you need to be talking to them the most. Like you have your 2, like let's say there's 10 people in training, each present like 2 to 3 people that are really focused on. So there's people you're talking to all weekend long, but still like take calls when you can't help out with other ones too. Because what I also want to avoid is that like that also means like if you only have your 2 to 3 people, if one of your people has demos all weekend, now you have to be available like all weekend long. And like if you don't answer, like if Lauren's like unavailable Friday night, then I know like none of her people are being talked to. Like I don't also want to avoid that too. So like for instance, when calls come in,
so strict.
I think when calls come in, still just help out with the calls so they come in. But in terms of like who you need to follow up with, like it could just be your people. So like that like you need to be on top of your people when like closing out demos or outgoing. And of course, if you're busy, we can always get help from it. If Lauren's like, hey, I'm actually like at lunch right now. Like I know like my 2 people like actually have demos right now. Can anyone like reach out to them or something like that? You can easily do that. But I think it's probably gonna be better going forward if we can divvy it up. So at the end of training, we'll just divvy it out. Like, all right, you got these 3 for the weekend, you got these 2, you got these 3, you got these 1, 2.
I have a comment that you made. So Friday PDI, I know I did that all because I'm like here in the morning the entire time. But Tuesday PDI, I thought we were dividing that up.
Yeah, we were gonna divide that up too, half and half. So it will really just be so for actually that's a good point. Let's go over the Tuesday thing in a second. Let me finish off these ones soon because actually I have to ask you a question about that now because I just realized we changed something up and I might need to change something there. Let me figure that out. All right, so Julio 2K.
Yeah.
Maria. Okay, here's the deal. We can screw everyone else in the training. Maria's really good. Like Maria can totally sell. She's super sharp. She's super on point. Like when she called in, like no one ever does this. She called in like perfectly. Like, hey, Andrew, with my lovely customer right now, and they were considering the homemaker set,
Oh my
but
God.
but they were unsure about like XYZ. So I want to know if there's anything we can do, like Perfect calling in. And I almost actually closed like 3 times, and it turns out she didn't sell a single thing. Again, because I don't think anyone talked to her Saturday or Sunday. So like she's the type of person that like we gotta encourage her. She's probably super discouraged right now. Didn't sell a single thing this weekend. We need to get her back on board and just get her like excited. Like she's someone that like could sell here and like is worth. There's some people that come in and turn their kids in. I'm just like, whatever, dude. Here you go. Thanks. You know, not even worth your time. She's worth our time. She should definitely be selling. So I don't know. Let's just see if we can get her like $500 up on the board. You know, with her for next week. But I really think she could do more. And this is Jonathan.
Who's Sean?
He's kind of good.
He was the one I ran advanced training for by himself the whole entire time. I hope I spent like 3 hours with this kid. I hope he sells at least $250. But I was,
5 demos, right?
huh?
He said 5.
Yeah, he also only did 1 demo this weekend. He left with 5 demos from training. So like, I don't know, but he's we went through it. I think he's pretty charismatic. He's a good kid. So he's just like rough around the
I thought you
edges.
said he sold 2 kids.
No, that's Julio.
Oh.
Yep. Braulio has some more appointments lined up for this weekend.
Dude, I don't know. Brother I talk to a lot, and he like is super like, I want to do so well. Blah, blah, blah.
I mean, he sold $900 this past week.
Okay. Stuff.
He sold $900 this past week and did barely any demos. And this week he's trying to do a lot more. He's being a lot more aggressive with it.
Okay.
Let's get him some good coaching on Wednesday and get him to $2,000.
Keep in mind, this is a 6-day week, wasn't it? Or was that
Yeah.
last week?
Yeah, it was
Yeah, this is a 6-day week, so it's actually not that bad for 6 weeks.
Daniela, like all those other people that were part of that training class. So like what, they just didn't answer you, like.
Well, we haven't heard from any of their appointments since like Saturday. No one talked to him on Sunday, and barely anyone did any PPI on Saturday. We didn't get a hold of those people when you guys called them.
Yeah.
Like when you called them, left voicemails. That's when I assumed they were AWOL. I sent
I
out.
talked to Melanie. That was the only one.
I sent out text. I sent out on web PDI before advanced training. Then I also texted them, and Danny also called them. They
What
answered.
about Sam?
So they're all AWOL.
Who's
All of
Sam?
them.
Yeah.
If they weren't here today, we haven't heard from them other than Anthony and Maria and Julio. And Anthony turned his kid in, and then Maria, Julio, and Jonathan or Johnny.
Screw Anthony.
All
Give me a person.
right, Braulio, I'm going to call at one point. Braulio, again, let's talk about like what can we, if we actively coach these people, like, hey, like, so our staff knows like, hey, we want to get Julio to 2K this week. We want to get Braulio. Like, I'm not even going to leave. I'm going to like leave people. I want us to just focus energy on a couple people. That way we just drive their energy to them and not like kind of half focusing on everyone on the team.
Yeah, brother should be one.
Yeah.
I think
like
He
bro.
sold 800 this week.
Yeah, on a 6-day week and not even really trying. Elisa,
Screw him. Jeez.
Which one's she?
Screw the Adventist.
She's like really.
is
looking
Elisa
for-
Adventist?
Yes.
She is?
Yeah, they all go to school together. Lisa, Paula, Josue.
They go where?
They all go to the same school.
Oh, they're the 4 high schoolers?
No, Elisa, did she leave with women?
Yeah, but not that many.
Let's just not focus our energy on the coaching them. I'm just gonna put whatever. If they sell, awesome. Alex A. I mean,
I'm gonna keep trying.
I
he tries for sure. He's all,
Oh, yeah,
you did
I
PSP
know.
with me. With
Yeah,
it.
I did his PSP, and he was like, yeah, like I just didn't get my confidence up, like closing before, like I don't know, like sometimes I feel like I just go straight into it. Everyone who like gives me feedback tells me I need to like talk to him more. I was like, but I don't know. I felt
He just
like
walks in. He's like, "Hey, welcome."
yeah, I told you he's.
Hey, Miss
he literally
Johnson, they go ahead and get
walks
started.
in- Hey guys, yeah. These are oh guys, lovely home. These are super cheers. I'm like, bro. Whatever. So I mean, I don't know. I had a long talk with him about that. I kind of went over like what I do and what I say to people, and that the only reason that I sold this summer is because people just liked me because I spoke to them. Like I wasn't good at selling probably. Like I just spoke to them a lot and made them like me. And he was like, "Oh my god, it makes so much sense."
So he's scared to basically build rapport and talk to her.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I was like, he just seemed like kind of
What happened
awkward.
to Andy?
1K. Can I give him 1K?
When he
Yeah.
saw
I
his
think we
husband.
can give 1K, $100.
We can
111.
get him there.
We'll get him. We'll get him
Wait,
1K.
What happened to Andy? Can
Yeah.
someone like?
Oh,
Who's
okay.
Andy?
Andy's
Had food poisoning.
Andy?
but, like,
No, he had food poisoning and then he moved here and he moved here like 1 week ago. He doesn't know anyone. He was sitting down, I was talking to him, I was like, so what are you doing? I didn't know that you had told him to sit there and wait. And he was like, yeah, Andrew just told me to sit here and wait. I was like, are you gonna like book demos or something? He's like, yeah, I just literally haven't had a single other person to call because I moved here a week ago.
No, he's just being a
when I gave
pussy.
him the
I-
job,
That's
he
what
literally
he
said, "I know so many people
That's what he was telling me. I was like,
in
okay.
Argentina, so he could be a very
Well, there's so many people in Argentina, but then he forgot that there's a crisis in Argentina where no
Yeah,
one can
they-
buy anything. And I was like, he's like, dude, it's like hard selling. It was like, you know how people say like it's hard selling, friends and family when I know they're like in a tough financial situation. And I'm like, all right, I don't actually know that. But like for him, that time I was like, yeah. But he was like, yeah, it's like hard, like selling like these really expensive knives when like I know like they can barely afford like food right now. And I'm like, no. And I was like, yeah, you know what? That might be a tough sale. I would probably stop seeing anyone in Argentina. Like I would stop doing any virtuals there. But Portland, you should be doing them as in Portland. I was like, you probably have tons of people over there. Like you didn't do that anyways. He was just so discouraged and mentally, and I was like, bro, I don't know. I probably should have talked to him more, but I got too tired of it.
So did you like officially?
Yeah, I took a skit, and he was like super like I just need like
He
to
wants to piggyback up with
yeah, he just wants to get established down here and stuff like that too, or whatever. So he just really discouraged. I mean, he was a good kid. Anyways, all right, Tyler. Dude, Tyler, same thing. He could be doing $1,000. I mean, I think we can get him to $1,000 this week. I quizzed him on his page 8 and 9. They were good. I sat down with Tyler a lot and actually like poured time and energy into him and like gave him some good tips. And I was like, dude, like, I told him, I was like, hey, you're way too talented. I was like, you're the tall bucket.
Yeah, hidden gem.
Yeah, Eddie's hidden gem. I was like, hey, look, you're way too talented and like way too like, I don't know, like he knew what he was doing. Like he had good clothes, he was good selling, and he's like seeing all Mac customers too. He's not seeing like shitty people. Like, a lot of times, like some of those kids, like I know just way is seeing like shitty people.
Yeah.
But like a lot of like he's seeing like fine people. I was like, so his customers are fine. He's doing the demos. He's crushing recommendations. He did 7 demos last week and got 90 recommendations. So like he's doing a good job. And I was like, look, like if you attack, I was like, how much when you're this is what I coached him. I was like, when you get recommendations, you probably just you're doing pretty well with them. Do you just like expect 10 recommendations every demo you do? And he's like, yeah, like pretty much. I'm like, yeah, you probably just like do it. Like you don't really like feel weird asking for recommendations, do you? But yeah, you just probably ask her and like assume they're just gonna give you some recommendations. All right, start doing that with your sales. Like that's how you need to price your sales. Because you're probably on your appointments crossing your fingers like, oh, I hope they buy. And then you need recommendations like, yeah, so here's your recommendations. Everyone gets some recommendations, blah, blah, here you go. So if you approach that the same way you approach your sales and actually come with more confidence. His close was perfect, but he just was like super fast and like would like almost get nervous and rushing through. And I was like, yo, just you gotta get him calm, make sure they understand it. Confused mind always says no. So hopefully we'll see some better results from him this week. I mean, I think at a bare minimum we gotta get him to like $500. You know what I mean? Or else he's not gonna. I told him I was like, you're not gonna be working here much longer, dude. You're not making any money here.
How long has he been working here?
For a while, like 2 months at least. He's only sold like $1,800. He's here every week.
But
He comes in with all of his appointments already booked up.
He walks in here every single time with his appointments 100% booked up. And I don't know.
Do you ever verify that they're like real scheduled appointments, not just writing shit on
I
the
spoke with him Friday and I said he should be calling in, but he never did. Like, honestly, like, I mean, I'm sure he knows his page 8 and 9, but like, I really don't think he's doing that many appointments.
I don't think so either, but he's not even in school. He's not doing like anything
He's not in
else.
school?
No, he's not doing
You know
anything.
what I'm saying? Like, the
Oh, we can
appointments
get
that
him
he
mine.
sets, I don't think he's doing them. Is my
Yeah, I don't think he's doing as many. I think he'll come in with like 10 booked up, and he actually has like 4 or 5 lined up. But I think he's still doing 8 appointments. Anyways, we won't worry about him too much. Golf, don't even ignore him.
Right? I've never met him here. No one's
Diego
Which Diego?
Is he still working?
Chavez?
No.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure because like everyone like was saying that he wanted to
No,
quit.
he's already at $3,000 in sales.
Okay, cool.
Same thing.
Oh wait, so we should move him up.
He's got tests this week. No, he's a little bit below $3,000.
Oh, yeah.
He's got tests on Monday and Tuesday. So again, random side tangents. Something we want to start getting the habit of doing anytime people come in for a PSP meeting. It needs to be like when you sit down with them, like let's talk about this. How you're doing in school? How's your test schedule? Like look at your schedule for the week. You know how you're feeling about your tests. And I'd write them in there too. So like I've been doing that on every person that I sat down with. You click on their name on WebPDI. I have notes on them. Right. So like if we don't have notes for someone, by the way, anytime you're meeting with them, add the notes. And what I want to kind of have down for every single person is like how much money do they want to be making every single week here? What like is their school do they go to? What's their major? What's like their dream job? Like what's their biggest motivator? Like income, recognition, experience, advancement. right? And then the last one is like any other like important details like tests, school schedule, big dates, do you have a girlfriend or boyfriend, like things like that. Will just help you know the reps a whole lot better too. It's like, dude, like you're trying to sell, like you're gonna make $400 a week. Like your biggest thing is income. Like what do you like? You know, you gotta talk to them about like whatever it is, like what's going on. And we know their schedule. I put almost every person I talk to their class schedule in there too. So that way when you're doing PDI, you can easily check and see. We should have that for every single rep. So once you do PSP meetings for Sundays, they should already be there. Or if they're not there, I haven't done it with them yet. And so add it on there. Cool. So Diego Chavez, we can just call it. He's coming down from his fast start, probably like, and he's got 2 tests on Monday. He's got a test today and Tuesday. He doesn't have any tests for the rest of the week. He probably still get like $800.
Yeah.
We just want to call it, or let's just coach him $2,000. I mean, we don't have many people to coach, so there's no churning class this weekend. So what I'm saying is like, let's just spend our energy into like 8 people that are going to guess the results, and then just sell as assistant managers, and then we will have a bigger week this week than we did last weekend. Diego Mejia, he has a signature set that he has to put in on Friday, so I'm going to call him 2K last. I had a talk with him on Sunday too, so we should get him going a little bit more too. I'm going to call him 2K.
Do you talk to George?
George? No, I mean, he just needs to turn his schedule in. I haven't heard from him in weeks.
I talked to him.
No, you talked to him on Friday. What happened? Is he still in Palm Beach?
No, like he wanted to talk to you. He's just having a problem.
He's having I haven't showed up to a meeting in 3 weeks problem too.
Yeah, I know. Never mind.
That's what I'm saying. So,
But my point is that I had a serious conversation with him. I just wanted to talk to you, see if you can help him out. Obviously, I told him that what he's been doing is not okay.
When is he back in town yet, though, or no?
Yes. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Like he didn't come in on. Was he supposed to come in on Sunday?
Yes.
Yeah, and then I saw.
And so he didn't come in. Is what I'm saying.
No, and like 2 minutes after the time I texted him, I said, "If you said you could out one time, why?"
That's what I'm saying. You should. If he needs you to turn his kit this week, or you can have a sit down combo with one of you all, and like you guys can help with lead or something like that. I'm gonna leave him as a dash. Josh T. We need to see like $500 from this week, or we should fire him. Max is going out of town for most of this week, so I don't know if we can count on much from him there.
He normally goes out of town himself.
He's going to a wedding, so
It's super weird.
All right, what's that total up?
hit it, math boy. I'm just kidding.
9.25, I believe. According to the rough estimate.
Can I throw something out there really quick, Andrew?
Yeah.
So the 4 people I texted for the interview tomorrow, my practice one, 3 of them told me they weren't available, and then 1 said that she was. So like.
Do we have anyone else we could schedule in the morning for it?
Like
Lauren or.
Even if we can, like I'll literally still stand in there and I'll do the practice interview to like a trophy, and I'll still do the screening.
Just pull back the one lady that can. It's not bad.
Do it to 1 person.
Probably better off than doing it with no one there.
Okay.
It would just force you to be on point. Like you actually have to run the interview. Versus like when you're talking to someone else, it's still better than doing nothing. But like you can easily like, oh, I fucked up there. Hold on. I don't really need to focus on Max. So I mean, here's the deal. We basically have 9 people on the team we need to focus on. Okay. So literally the only things that matter this week for you all is, we can look at the board for a second, is just literally keep the recruiting going, get some sales up personally, and coach these 9 people. Cool. That's really all we got to worry about. And that's how much in sales?
9,700.
9750. Let's say we only get that to, conservatively, let's say we get that to, I don't know. Let's say we get this to 7.5K from our current team. All right. And then going down the list here, shout out to Ruben. Nice job getting some sales on the board, over $1,000. Well done. Nice job, Alex. 5.6K leading the way. The pack clearly leading the way at TLA. Nice job. Nice job, Giselle. Finding a way to get something up on the board. And same thing, Jonathan. Nice job. So Julia, Danny, Lauren, you guys have all been here in the office a lot, so I don't really blame you guys right now for not having sales up on the board because you guys have been in the office way more than everyone else. This week will be the first week where it's starting to calm down a little bit, and then starting next week will be completely like the 100% normal schedule for the office. So in terms of that, like we just gotta, I'm not gonna spend too much time on it, but just be focusing on it. If you guys are watching this still, SAF video, 5 demos getting completed every single week. That's all we gotta worry about there. PR numbers, the last thing I'll talk about while this video is still running. I'm gonna cut it off. So look at the weekly numbers here. Last week, most people got to their numbers for the week. Giselle, you've been crushing the game. Jonathan, I just don't think you've entered your PRs. I think you entered them underneath of Giselle, so that would explain that. Rob Gatal, we got to step it up. Ruben, we got to step it up. I know you're sick and puking right now, so that's why you don't have your numbers there. Alex Stanham, same thing. You only had 2 for the week, so we just got to make sure you get to 5 before the end of the week's over. And then Julia, 10 last week. Nice work. 3 this week, so we just got to get some PRs set between like tomorrow and Wednesday or something like that too. Cycle ends Wednesday night, so you guys have up until Wednesday night to finish this off. And then same thing, Lauren, let's just step it up for this week, and we just got to finish off this strong. Only thing is in terms of PRs, like, I don't know, Lauren, Julia, make sure you guys get to at least like 5. But in terms of like Lauren and I are going to say PRs, there are PRs in the system for us to call, but the most of the list, you just go to personal recruits and just scroll down the list and don't do the stars. Most of them are going to be like people like Diego Chavez, or you got some luck with those. You set like 1 or 2 of those, right?
I set like a bunch of them didn't answer, and then I set like 1 of them.
All right, cool. So you're still going to get some PR set, but not like a whole lot because we don't have a lot to call. But have more people on the team, post some triple threats, stuff like that too before this Wednesday. All right, I'm going to cut off things right there. Actually, here's the last thing I want to say. I kind of talked to Danny about, and Lauren already knows this, and I'll say, I guess, for Julia, and then really just mainly for the other assistant managers on here. So I just really wanted to quickly clarify, you guys, if you have any questions about pay, rewatch like the older staff videos, but just for pay for this week, because I know everyone's paycheck sucked. Kind of want to review what I was basically talking about with Danny, and this is how usually, especially if you're an office manager during the summertime, but really a lot during, definitely in the summer and somewhat during the fall. What happens is, Lauren, you'll remember this, right? So like this is kind of like a graph, I guess, of like, you know, each month of the campaign. And what happens is like this is kind of like your workload, right? So this is your workload, and this is your, you know, income, right? So what happens is usually in the beginning, like especially like I'll give you an example, summertime. Like summertime, you're starting up, you're working a crap ton. Like you're in the office, like we're working like 80 hours a week almost some of the times. We're in here a lot, and we're basically making no money. Like as a branch manager, this is how it is. Also as an assistant manager for the summer, because you're in there. Actually, the branch manager actually negative at the beginning, and then you start going up because you're spending office expenses or like any. This is by the way any business ever. So you're putting more in time investment into it, but like your income level, even like what Garrett's doing right now, but like the actual money that you're making is like way, way lower. And what happens is over time, as like, for instance, like the summer goes on, things are getting systemized. As the fall goes on, like we got things, you're no longer training, no longer learning. We're not like trying to build a team. So that too, it's kind of just like going. We have sales people in the office. It's like a sales team. So your work level that actually you're putting in gets paid is less and less. And your income level goes up higher and higher and higher, right? So that's just generally how it happens. So in terms of like, for instance, right now, like when you guys aren't making money, I'm also not making money. Like even as a DM, like it's like some weeks I'm like literally like last week I lost money. You know what I mean? As like an office too, I'm not gonna like lose money for the month or like something like that too, because it's like it's more long term is kind of what you got to think about it. So the same thing that I like share with people is number one, like you know at the beginning, basically all of you guys for having like number one, you just can't count hours in the office. Like right now, you're gonna be underpaid per hour, like how much you really should like your time's worth, and eventually like. You know, during the peak weeks, you're going to be paid way, way more than what your time's actually worth, probably in certain big weeks. And that's exactly how it was in the summer. Lauren off the office pay probably made like, $1 or $2 grand the first month, the whole month working all along. Same thing the second month, and then July I probably made like $6 grand off the office or something like that. Like ridiculous, you know what I mean? Like in like a short period of time. And just that's kind of how it happens. So you want to think about it in terms of the campaign. An easy way to calculate how much you could be making off the office for the campaign is how much we're estimating to sell, which is maybe 200 to 250K in sales. And 200K on the low end, 300K on the very high end. I'd say 250K is what we're shooting for and what we should be able to do. So, like just take whatever percentage or multiply by that, and that's how much money you're going to at least make this campaign throughout the campaign over the next 3.5 months. So that's the first way to think about it. The second thing that I challenge you guys, the same thing I told Lauren last year, is that, again, the number one reason you become an assistant manager, during the summer it's different, but in the fall and spring, like the number one reason you become an assistant manager is really for the experience. Like for instance, Lauren was in office last summer where we weren't even going to get like these results, not even selling anything, right? So that doing like 200K for the fall, doing like 30K for the fall. So like actually not making any money, not just like feeling like you're not getting like literally not making any money. Even the conversation I had with her, she's been working there. I was like, hey, you should still do it, and it's probably still worth your time, just because of number one, the skills and experience you get. And think about it this way, as like an investment into training for yourself, so that like next summer you can be paid way, way more than what your time is currently worth, right? So like, technically right now you might even be losing money, but like it's like overall this summer you're going to make way more money than like anyone else because of the skill set and what you're allowing yourself to do. So whether you're an assistant manager or hopefully for a lot of you guys like Dom or a branch next summer, this is setting you up so that like next summer, like you're making like 3 times, 4 times, 5 times more than what anyone else could be making. You're doing this for the skill set and the development and like what you're actually gaining from it. If you're just working to make money, being on staff, like you should just sell. Like you'll make more money just from selling every single week. Like if you just want to make as much money as possible, like I said, selling is like the way to go, because you'll probably be able to make a lot more money than you will be here in the staff in the fall. But in terms of like the skills and experience and making some cool money along the way, awesome. And again, that's why like all of your AM pay is withheld, because you want selling to be your primary income. So 100% of your AM pay is withheld at the end of the semester. Like this should be your startup account. So you don't even have to worry about startup. So you just like kind of look at your account and like, oh wow, I've got like, $1 grand, $5 grand, $2 grand, whatever, sitting in my account at the end of the semester. Like I kind of forgot about that, right? And I same thing I told Danny, 100% of it gets withheld. If you ever need it anytime, it's still your money. You can pull it out. You can pull it out every single week if you want. You can literally send an email every single week and just have it put in your account each and every single week if you wanted to. But the idea is that hopefully by holding it, you don't do that unless you really, really need to. And then it kind of gives you an encouragement and support, because when we don't withhold it, then everyone sees it once the money starts coming in to be like, I don't really need to sell because I kind of got everything ready to roll. Yeah.
So yeah, back to Andrew's point. I remember him last year telling me like busy times, basically be working and getting experience off someone else's dollar. And in the moment, I honestly just hated it, and I was just like, I'm losing money. I was driving like an hour to an office, and I was just like, no, like there's no way, like this sucks. And in the moment, it does, but I honestly don't regret it at all. It was probably like one of the best things that I could have done, especially preparing for the summer, because there was really no shock to the summer other than obviously the workload increases. But it was something that I got the experience, and if you're money motivated, then staff just really isn't your thing. Just sell, because that's just not what staff is for. It's not about money. It's more about the experience. And
yeah, especially if you want to. Yeah, to your point, if you want to be a branch manager, this is I forgot to mention that too. It's it's your opportunity to make money off someone else's dollar. You get to make when you're if you're doing this for yourself, when you make mistakes in our office, when you do a bad job of stuff, you eat it every single time. It hurts you. Right now, I guess it no one really hurts me. It hurts you a tiny little bit, but this is your chance to really you get to train on my dollar. You know what I mean? You get to train on you can make as many mistakes as you want in this office. You can do whatever, but you have a chance to really train and learn that. And this is kind of a training ground. You know what I mean? So when you go out and you're doing your own thing, it's when it's on you, you're able to to do a good job of it too. And you're not making a lot of the mistakes that new managers make. You get to make them while you're here with me. And hopefully there's someone here to coach you rather than going out and doing it yourself. So again, I don't want to say if you're not money motivated, you guys should all still be making good money. And that's something I'm kind of I get antsy about. Even Lauren was saying half the time, half the assistant managers didn't even get paid last year. Some of you guys that are on 0.5%, that was just Most people just do that just to be like part of TLA. You know what I mean? They're just 7 PRs, things like that too. But I'm the guy that likes to make sure people, even though, again, I don't think you should use staff if your number one motivator is income. But I mean, I want all of you guys to be making, no one should be losing money. Everyone should be financially incentivized and benefiting from doing this. So that's just all I'll say there. I'm going to close off this one. I'm going to need like 5 or 10 more minutes with you guys, and we're going to get you guys out of here. Yep. So I'm going to exit this guy right here.